Get down, Toby. Sorry, I will be interrupted. Hey! I'll be interrupted by a cat who's been alone all day and he expects me to spend all my time with him. And I just realized that I was late doing this. I was supposed to start, like almost an hour ago now? Oh, bear with me, bear with me. I'm just going to get this out energetically. I just had my beautiful sister Susan on for a moment and then I lost connection. And so hopefully the notifications will go out. If not, then yeah, I'm not even sure how to make that happen. But anyway, so I know I had a didn't work out very good because I put a oh, interesting. Yeah, I've seen a couple of little light anomalies already just in the screen now that I'm actually connected and the Wi-Fi's up and everything's running. I apologize for all of the goofiness that has been going on. Okay, so I know that it started to speak about this in my other video. I had one person pop in and then one person pop out. So yes, I'm going to just put this out here to start with. I am going to be doing this once a week. I know I've said that before and I know it hasn't happened. So just, bear with me. I'm doing the best that I can over here. But this is actually, something has drastically changed and altered my perspective in the way that I'm going to be moving forward from here on out. I have a very clear grasp on something that is the both and it's the totality of it. And it's a word that, there's a word description of it that was actually a channeling of Yeshua. And I loved what he said in this channeling. He said to me, observer activist. It's the both and. Observer activist. It is us being in this place that we've been. And I know that my heart has been asking questions. Now what? What has all of this remembrance actually prepared us for? Because on some days it doesn't feel like it's prepared us for an actual life journey on earth in the story as it exists. What it feels like to me is it's prepared me to have incredible expectation of my divinity and my I am presence, knowing that I am fully, totally limitless and absolutely divine and perfected, and all these beautiful remembrances of what and who we truly are. And I've just been not feeling prepared to run the Earth story based on everywhere that I've been brought to through the last 5 years. It has been a very weird 6 months, and I know that a lot of people can resonate with all of the, serious, energetically wise, so many things culminating together. And, this journey could have began by introducing you to things like light grids, star seeds, the Anunnaki, Andromedans, Pleiadians, different extraterrestrial beings, channelings, that you have spiritual gifts like clairvoyance and claircognizance and a lot of clairs, if you will. Being able to understand all of a sudden that you can utilize tools like, sound equipment, and not sound equipment, but like, Tibetan bowls and chimes and crystals and, tarot cards. And there's all these different things that have come, that we've all kind of passed through. Now, I don't know about all of you. I've witnessed that some people don't pass through them. They actually set up camp and stay there, which is perfectly acceptable. It's absolutely valid. It's their journey and their story. But mine has been like a threading. I have been led to each one of these things and stayed there just long enough to experience them, but passed through them like a needle through the thread through the needle. I didn't stay in that space, but it gave me something. I remember being most affected by discovering the remembrance of being a starseed or a light worker. Going through that journey of remembrance with all the terms and the words that we use to describe that process, it just resonated with me so heavily. And it still has always kind of just been like in the back of my processes. But I've not stopped anywhere and hailed one thing. I've moved through them all. And like I was saying in the other video, we've all come through such incredible processes in the last 5 years. All of us, and if you're listening to me, the us that I mean are the ones that hear me, the ones that this is energetically affecting. And I find myself sitting in a beautiful place of peace, a wonderful sense of self, I'm madly in love, in complete and total union within. And I can say that to the degree that up to this point, it's as complete and total as I've ever experienced. I am not by any means saying I've reached somewhere or that I've achieved something that is finite and done, and that, I've arrived. I'm not stating that at all, but in the place that I'm in, I've reached such a beautiful sense of self and peace and remembrance, and yet what has it equipped me for? This is what my heart is questioning right now. We all kind of divorced the earth story, at least I did, but I know that a lot of you can resonate with it. We did that thing where Yeshua was speaking about dying to the world and dying to self. Literally what it was just a temporary divorce from this whole earth story, only to find myself plunged right back into it with this new presence, this new remembrance. But what the question in my heart is what I have remembered about my I am presence, about you, and who you are and who I am, as completely non-separate, beautiful facets of the same stone, if you will, all fully connected, fractals of the I am, the royal we, the one, the laws of one, however it has come across in verbiage to you. Understanding that incredible, immense remembrance of who we all truly are and what we all truly are, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I've been really pondering that it has not equipped me to play the earth game. It's equipped me for totally the opposite. It's equipped me to want to disengage the earth game, to stay in my divinity, to be in a space of that limitlessness, that beautiful, divine, everything that we've discovered in this beautiful remembrance journey. I don't feel like it's equipped me. I feel like it's totally the opposite. I feel ill-equipped. And what I mean by that is, do you find yourself just feeling like it's an out-of-body experience every time you have to engage the earth story? Simple things like going to work, going to the store. I mean, just today, I went into the city to do some shopping necessary for my earth story, and I'm just walking through Walmart, and it still feels like an out-of-body experience anytime I engage this co-created earth story that we're in, because I'm in observer mode most of the time. And the part of that term that I told you in the beginning that was a Yeshua channel, and that frequency that comes from those many aspects, Yeshua, Archangel Michael, Enoch, there's many energies that are connected to that. But from that place, this word, observer activist, the observer part, I'm finding myself energetically very peacefully in most of the time. It's the activist part, the both and. So I don't know about you, but the reason why I decided to share this next part of my journey is because I woke up in the night 2 or 3 nights ago before I made the announcement of this video, and some very old information this is the thing, as I'm finding that a lot of this old information that we've been introduced to and then passed through and have remembered above it, so it just becomes sort of benign, is being reintroduced to me, and I'm like, I don't understand, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I be reintroduced to something that I've already kind of went through and risen above? And that's not a level of, higher, lower, better, worse. It's just moving through and out of and being able to see it, but not being of it in the moment anymore. Like, the whole remembrance of the whole starseed thing. I don't tell people that, I'm a starseed or I'm a light worker or that I'm a this or that. I don't relate to any of those things that I've passed through. A Christian is where I started, and then I became all these other things that I passed through and experienced, only to find myself in a place of, now what? What in the world have we remembered so profoundly for? And that's kind of just been a looming question, albeit not something that's uncomfortable or that makes me feel anything heavy. It's not like I'm totally happy being in the sense that I'm being right now, but I do feel this sense of wanting to be on some type of trajectory again. And I think it's anytime we engage the earth story, we get that sense of doing. And I'm just so happy being, but what has it prepared us for? if we have come back into the remembrance of something that needs nothing. What for then? It just kind of, it feels like it just negates the whole story entirely. Why don't we just be done with it? Well, obviously, look around you. Proof is we're not done with it. So that makes my heart's just been asking, so now what? Now, like I was talking about just a few minutes ago, coming back through some of the things that we've been introduced, Spirit just said this to me this morning. What if you were introduced to each one of those things, you know, being a starseed, being a grid worker, being a light worker, being a, you know, connected to your past lives, being, you know, resonating with Arcturians, with Pleiadians, resonating with Egyptian lore, feeling that you're connected to whatever it is that you feel spiritually connected to, whatever your journey has really, you know, kind of gotten a hold of you with, even if you're not there now, if you've passed through it like I have, any of those things that we processed through. And Spirit said, what if we were walked through each one of those things, not only to refine us into remembrance and to bring us into this beautiful, fiery phoenix existence that we're in, and and refine us and bring us to such a deep remembrance. What if it's not only that, it was like an initiation into that information, but with an empty gun, if you will, not loaded with the ammunition needed to actually fire the sucker. Okay, now that's it's funny. I'm taking a gun course, and I just went and bought my ammo for it today. So maybe that's where that came from. My brain's kind of in that mode. It's very simply just target shooting. It's just something I'm doing to entertain myself because it brings me joy. So it's target shooting, right? But anyways, I just got this image in my head that what if that was all given to us but not loaded, and in this now moment, between this eclipse and the next one that's coming on the 29th, we're in this kind of space of being loaded. Now, if any of this resonates with you, then it is for you. If it doesn't, it's simply just for me, and I'm completely okay with that. But energetically, I felt compelled to share this part of my journey. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to come on here every week, and I'm going to offer a space to do this collectively if you so fit. If not, I'm going to do it for myself as a way to connect. And this will all understand. You'll understand it when I explain it to you here, and I'm about to. So this information came back to me about this grid of light around our beautiful Mother Earth, and also connected to a second level of grid of light that is being held and anchored by beloved ones that are not incarnate, that are not in flesh at this moment. They are actually in energetic form surrounding those of us that have chosen to be incarnate anchors to that same grid of light. And it is, once again, you're gonna feel me bouncing from between the both and. So please understand, and I'll try really hard not to be confusing, because it's still confusing to me a little bit. Just my earth brain doesn't want to really connect with it fully sometimes. But I will be bouncing back and forth between the story, the little r story, of what we're actually doing here as humans, having a human experience, between that and the ethereal truths of us being perfected, 100% innocent, 100% limitless divine beings. Now I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between those two. That is the observer activist, the both and. This as above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. All of these statements are clues to this moment. And this is just for me. This is my aha moment, but I'm sharing it with you because if you resonate with it, it's time to get very what's the word I'm looking for? Very intentional now, because that thing that I talked about, going through all those processes where we've remembered about the co-created stories of star seeds, grid workers, light workers, angelic beings, all the remembrances that we've had and where we stayed and we tarried in those moments for a little bit, or maybe just stayed there, period. Maybe you are still, walking your story out as simply an Arcturian starseed, or you resonate with some kind of channeling of Egyptian, history, or whatever it is for you. It doesn't really matter, because this what I'm sharing will resonate with you or it won't. And that's just simply, I'm just mostly doing this for myself as an energetic intentionality, because I've been told by my own highest self, by all that we are and what we're connected to in my story, my puzzle piece, it's time to get intentional with the Earth story. And this is, and I ever since this came to me, I have felt gloriously appointed, anointed, and put forward in the Earth story as an activist, and very already in that place that I was explaining to you before, as in this incredible sense of peace and joy as the observer, the I am presence observer. So it's kind of connecting with playing both parts, both you as the created and you as the creator, because there's no separation between any of this. So if you've come into these stories and you feel very connected to the grid light, the light grid that's on Earth, ley lines, energy portals, things, points of energy on this Earth, if you're very drawn to those types of frequencies, if you're super hypersensitive and you pick up on things super easy, you've been moved around, tossed around, disconnected from everything and everyone, believe me, I never expected at my age to be sitting in a place where I'm literally not beholden to anyone. There's everyone that was close enough to me to create something that would hold me somewhere has been removed from my life. So I am now in this very unusual space of not being beholden to anyone in the Earth story. And so I'm being compelled to move forward with this. And it was interesting to me when it came back to me and how it lit me up, literally, because it's old information. As far as I know, that doesn't sound right exactly, but it's old information. It was bringing me back to the story of this light grid that surrounds our beautiful Mother Earth and is connected to a light grid that is connected to all of the other life in the story, whatever it is, non-incarnate life. These are energetic beings, angels, guides, ETs, otherworldly beings, wherever your story has led to you, or if this is all totally new to you and you're like, what is this crazy lady talking about? That's okay too. Okay, so let me start with my notes and we will go from there. All right, what now? I have been reintroduced to being an anchor of light. Frequency, which everything is ultimately that. We're creating this beautiful story, the Earth game, with that said frequency and light. I've been brought back, but fully loaded with my I am presence and this beautiful union. This is very different because when I was first introduced to it, I wasn't in this space. So this is why I'm sharing with it, because if you're resonating with any of this, we're locked and loaded. It's time to do this thing. I've been feeling very compelled for a long time now to really be connected to the idea of being contacted by our benevolent, beloved ones that have been holding the light grid non-incarnate, meaning outside of our Earth game, to be reaching out to those beloved sisters and brothers that are... and sisters and brothers is a bad word, but the beloved ones that chose not to be present in this game in an incarnate Earth character form, but they're very present nonetheless. They are, I've always called them my Sky Crew, and in some of my old videos, if you listen to them, I've always called them that, the Sky Crew. These are the beloveds, these energetic beloved ones that we sense and we feel, and I myself have been having interactions with on, not the heaviest level possible, but I believe it's on its way. But I've been having some different interactions. And this interaction has brought me back to the grid, the ideology behind the grid of light that surrounds our beautiful Mother Earth. And that grid of light being connected to all of the rest of the energetic beings that are not incarnate on Earth. There's something specific, there's something beautiful about this, and I have discovered for myself personally that all along I resonated heavily with being this anchor, because that's exactly what some of us are here for. To do nothing, to only be, because we energetically are anchoring the light grid to our beautiful Mother Earth by being in the incarnate story, part of it energetically as a physical, tangible being, just like Mother Earth is. So, that being said, It is time for me, and I'm sharing this with you if it resonates with you. I'm going to be doing this every week. I'm going to be doing it every day for myself, but I'm going to be doing it once a week collectively. And if your desire is to coming together and using our intentionality as one unit, you're more than welcome to join me. If not, no biggie. I'm still going to do it as an energetic statement of what my heart is saying to do, and it's time to get intentional. Okay. Grid of light. As above, so below. I just spoke about that. On earth as it is in heaven. All of a sudden, this became so abundantly clear to me in such a crazy way. And once again, it will be, I will be sounding like, it sounds just like when we first got introduced to these things and we got super excited because we remembered this stuff and we stayed there for a while thinking, this is it, this is what we're supposed to do. And then for me, it would ebb and flow and it would move into something else and I'd be like, this is it, this is what we're supposed to do. And I've been sharing stuff with you about portals and moving forward for years. But this is different. This is like all that time I was walking through that with an unloaded vessel and only as experience to be introduced to it. And now, being in this different energetic space, I am fully loaded to be able to utilize that information for what I'm supposed to do with the Earth game. The now what? The now what is for me, and if it resonates with you, great, because, I have a dear sister I was talking to about this. Just being that anchor, literally, that's it. Just being the anchor, but now it's time to get very intentional about it and bring it into the Earth game. This is going to be the doing part. Plugging in. Now, once again, as above, so below, very different. Ethereal truths of the perfected I am presence versus the Earth story. Both two different things, but they go together as the both and. And they're very, very important right now for us to be balancing both at the same time. Observer activist. Your I am presence, observing your created presence, acting out this particular part of the story while understanding that it is in fact just that, a co-created story. It's having the understanding that none of this is divinely reality with a capital R. And I've said this stuff before, and I know that you're probably saying, you've already said this. It's very true, I've already experienced it. But I have not experienced it with this completed union within me. This mad, incredible love affair within that is completely solidified is making all of this make a clear sense that I can't explain to you with words. So I'm just sharing it with you for that reason. Okay. If any of this resonates with you, plugging in, you have a place in it somewhere. If any of it resonates, and that is that you're an anchor. You've literally put yourself into this story specifically to hold frequency light in specific places on the earth as the story progresses, and that's it. If you find yourself questioning everything, wondering what the heck am I doing? What is this about? It makes no sense to me. I've arrived in this place, but it serves nothing. And so you still have a desire to serve. You still feel so much that there is something here that you are. You went to all this trouble divinely to come this far. So what for? It may very well be that you are just intended to be a holder and an anchor, and that's it. And it doesn't make sense, but it does now. My nose is itchy, and I don't know why. Okay. I know my notes are probably really sketchy because I wrote them really fast. Okay, it's kind of like it's explained like plugging into a wall plug. See, we understand that none of these things are necessary. Nothing we do in this earth story is necessary. It's all a part of the story that we're telling together, co-created. And I want you to understand very clearly that I totally understand that these things aren't necessary. But the reason why we're doing them is because it's the as above, so below. We're making a connection that we could have never made before. In the profound way we're making it now because of energetically what we've remembered. We have this large, full remembrance. So now when we do these with our earth story intentionality, the as above will be so below. It will be on earth as it is in heaven. All that means is all of that beautiful frequency that is the completed one love energy from the I am that we all are will be funneled into this story in a very specific way through you and me and anyone else that resonates with this. Now, even if you've resonated with it in the past and you've never even left that journey, that's great. I'm speaking from my own experience. So if it doesn't resonate, just mark me up as the crazy lady and leave it alone. That's totally fine. I'm sharing it with you because I feel very strongly that that's simply what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter what comes of it. So it's like plugging into a wall. You are the plug in the Earth story. It is time now to intentionally plug yourself into this socket that you are connecting to with your intentionality. Not just knowing it, not just learning about it, not even, just understanding it, actually doing it in tangible, real ways. And we'll get to how that resonates with you. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's just taking something physically tangible in this story and utilizing it in order for you to do this. And I'm going to be doing it every day. I'm going to start my day every day with this. And then I'm going to begin as the observer, and then I'm going to walk through my day as the activist. But I will remain both and, observer, activist. And see, the activist part is what I've been struggling with. And I don't know if you resonate with that, but if that hails as something true in your ear going, yeah, that makes sense. Because the word resonates. So many words. Don't worry about the words. Just let your heart hear me, and it won't matter what I say. It will resonate. You'll feel it. You'll know it in your heart of hearts just because you do. The activist part. I have been stumbling over how to be, I'm almost cursed, which I'm free, how to be freaking human after being so beautifully remembered in the divine presence of who I am and who you are. And how magnificent you are to me, how magnificent I am to myself. I'm finding the activist part, actually doing something in this Earth story, has become completely just obsolete. And I am fumbling with my day in and day out. I literally am completely comfortable just sitting in a space in this now moment and only contemplating this now moment. Nothing else. So it has left me in a place where I'm like, so what was all this for? It couldn't be just so that I could remember this. And the profoundness and the levels of remembrance that I do have, what point would that serve? It may just serve myself. I contemplated that. It could just be to serve myself. Because I am you and you are me. So if I serve myself, I'm serving you. But you know what? Something in me said, it's not just that. Keep looking, girl. Keep looking. And then this observer activist thing. So that is what my intentions are. Every morning I'm going to get up in my observer I am presence. I'm going to do all my little things that I do to get myself connected into that space, which I'm never disconnected anymore from it. I find that it's just there. It's just thick. It's just attached. The as above is the so below now. I'm just beginning to get how this below activist thing is going to play into it now, and how it's balanced between the two. It's both and, it's never and if. And I was so immersed in the above that it was just very difficult for me to figure out now what. But the now what that I just received is this light grid that we are involved in. And I can see by 0 people watching it that I could be on this journey totally by myself. And you know what? I'm good with that, because I know it has lit the fire in my heart again as an Earth character. The rest of me has been incredible. What a journey we've been on. It's been, I can't even explain it. I need nothing. I'm in this place where regardless of what goes on in the Earth story, I'm still so centered and so in this place. But it doesn't seem to be doing my Earth story any good. And that's what I've come to, is this is what I am going to do from this point forward. I believe the next probably 10, 20, 30 years are going to be about us connecting with this beautiful frequency that is the frequency that we are, but in a more profound way that's going to move us all energetically into the places that we are to be in, which I find changes every minute some days. And literally, if you could imagine 50 layers of frequencies, starting at really low, all the way to really high, and there's 50 different ones in between here. If you're singing with your Sacred Heart Center, ooh, if that's where you're at, that's the plane you're going to be on. If you're singing, ah, that's where you're going to be at. And if you're singing, ah, that's where you're going to be at. It has nothing to do with good, right, bad, up, down, ugly, stupid, smart, beautiful, perfect. It has to do with the journey that you're on and where your frequency is. And you will be in that plane, which is exactly a carbon copy of this plane, this plane, this plane, and this plane, except for what happens in the frequency of the telling of the story. So I find myself experiencing things differently from minute to minute and having them change and be completely different and go, do you ever get up and just feel like you walked into something that looks the same, but energetically something is not the same? It's completely different, like your outer is becoming a whole different circumstance. That's because the inner has become a whole different circumstance. The growth that we've all taken, the remembrance that we've all reached, is so that the inner projector is now playing the desired movie film on the projector out there. So that means that energetically, as we are in these frequency spaces, the outer is going to begin to reflect the inner, which is a wonderful thing because of all the remembrance that's gone on. And this is all tied in to, for me, being an anchor. Very important word. And that, think about it, a ship's anchor, what does it do? It gets dropped. And what's it supposed to do? The weight of it is to dig into the sand so much so that it can't be moved, so that while the ship above, with all of the engines, the power, all the things that make it go, is fully connected and it cannot be moved from the anchor. Although the ship is the one that is energetically free and moving about and doing its buoyant thing up here, but never far from the anchor because the anchor holds that. If you imagine that energetically, if you resonate with being an earth anchor, here you are, dropped, descended deeper and deeper and deeper into density until the density is so firm and so thick that it holds you in place, and we've all experienced that. And see, that's the part that I wrestled with. I've come up here to the ship and felt all of the freedom of the buoyant ship, but yet I know that I am also the anchor. As above, so below. Both and. On earth, as it is in heaven. I don't know if you're picking up on the energy that I'm trying to share here, because words fail it entirely. I cannot describe what is in my heart at this moment. But it is my desire, and I was awakened in the night and told this so very clearly. Myself told this self that this is the way that you are to go now in your processes through this earth story at 33 minutes. Cool. So once again, both and. Do numbers actually mean anything? Just being a light grid anchor, a light worker, a beacon that holds that space for the rest of all of the collective storytelling. Both and. Okay, so like plugging into wall. All right. I don't know what this means exactly, but it just says there is power in this, or you would not be here. Ah, yes. You would not be activating the body as a divine being into being a human being experience if this power weren't already present. The idea is acknowledging it, and that's what's next in my notes. Acknowledging it in your incarnate physical self, acknowledging that. In your acknowledgence, and you are doing that in your physical being that you've created, that is beginning the process of the as above, so below. If this were not the truth, if there was no power, if this power wasn't what it is what I am experiencing, you and I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to coalesce all of this matter into these incarnate forms to be co-creating this story together. And we wrote this part in. Anyone who came into this story and injected themselves into this story to be the one who just held the light, anchored to the earth. Basically kind of like, could you imagine if you were like, yeah, the straw in the drink. All the water's in the bottom of my cup. Here's the straw. The straw provides the water going up the straw into the, I would be representing the as above. This is the so below. Without the straw, the water can't get here. It can't be as above, so below. So there's a connection in there. You're a conduit. I am. I don't know if you are. If you resonate with any of this, then you answer that question. You'll know. You'll know exactly. This will connect with everything that you've been going through recently. And I think it's happening right now because we're in between these two very significant eclipses. And we are going to have an eclipse in Taurus on the 29th. One was a lunar, one was a solar. And I believe that this was, the solar eclipse was the Ring of Fire. And then we're going to have a lunar eclipse. And there's something very specific going on in this time frame for loading us up with the ability to do the as above, so below. Do the both and. At least for myself, it's become abundantly clear. Don't know how it's all going to play out. I don't know what it's going to look like in the Earth game. But what I will tell you, as I know that all of the answers for my own story are in this intentional connection to that light grid, because ultimately it's right here within you, connecting to it in order to anchor it to the story. Everything that happens within that divine connection that I'm making with intention through physicality movements, and I'll show you how I've decided for myself what resonates with me to make that connection. I've already been doing it, I just didn't realize that that's what I was doing. When you make that connection, it will everything that's in my heart, that's in this beautiful space within me, that I so desire to definitely experience in the outer, will come about without me doing anything other than this focus and this intentive focus on literally just doing what I came here to do. And I couldn't have done it until this now moment, because before I was just a vessel. Now my vessel's been loaded with what is necessary for this to actually become tangible reality. Are you ready for it to get fun? Are you ready for us to have these beautiful, moving forward, enlightened, gorgeous, wonderful contacts with, you hear in tons of allegories throughout all of history, people coming into contact with angels, beings. They called them gods. They called them, there's the Greek stories. Are you ready for this exchange to occur in the story now? I am, totally. But it's all in here. Nothing's really in the outer. It all starts here. And that is where I'm at. That's my intention. And that's all I'm going to be doing moving forward. I literally am going to do nothing else except for this one thing. And I have acknowledged it. Not everyone in the story that we're involved with understands that they are power. They don't understand who they are or what is happening, and they probably, maybe never will. But you and I have this remembrance that has occurred so that we can anchor this story, knit it together, and hold it energetically for the good of the collective, for the good of the entire story that we're co-creating in this now moment. Now moment's very important. Okay. So it starts with acknowledging that this power is here and that you are it. And that you, if you're resonating with any of this is falling into your heart, you very well may be one of the very few, and I believe they are few because there isn't a necessity for more than the few that have decided to do it. And they are all over the globe, positioned perfectly to anchor frequency in order to feed this story so that it becomes what it's meant to be next. Okay, so now we begin with acknowledgement. So just acknowledge that this grid of light, it helps with the imagination to be able, that's going to be part of this. As I'm sharing, that's going to be part of this. Imagining this power, this beautiful source that is outer, it's above, it is not the soul below. You can call it the kingdom of heaven, you can call it whatever feels good to you, whatever works for your imagination. But just acknowledging that you are never separated from this, and that you are specifically anchoring it to this earth story. You, very importantly and specifically, you're anchoring one thread of this beautiful light to the section of the earth that you are playing the story out at. Just have to acknowledge that that's true, that that's there. It's been forgotten for a long time. We've moved so far away from this, hence the reason why there are energy workers, light workers, grid workers, people who are super sensitive to energy and kind of basically in this earth story have been useless for everything else. I mean, if your life has been a clusterfuck for your whole life, then you're probably an anchor. Because there's one thing for you to do, and that is to be. And it is a divine feminine energy. Hence this channel, the Way of Mary. Hence all of the divine feminine movement that has moved me thus far to share what I've shared. It's still the same inertia. It's just taking on its full form of the union in its entirety. And believe me, I never would have known in a million years it was going to bloom like this. And it has, and so it is, and so be it. Okay, so yeah, remember I said it's been forgotten for a long time since the descent. Remember how I had that image of the anchor dropping? All of the anchors left the ship and decided to descend into the depths, into the heaviness, into the density to be an anchor. And the only way to do that is to go through a time of forgetfulness. And it's in the process of remembrance that loads your vessel, loads your gun, so you can fire it and do what you came here to do. There's no other way for it to happen. You have to go through the process. That's how the story was written. So here we are. How would it feel, just for a moment, if you can just use your imagination, just for a moment with me, how would it make you feel to think, just for a minute, that this is actually true? That you are that important to this story, that you simply are here to hold on to that thread of frequency, to the space where you're at, and simply hold it and do nothing else. All the doing will come about by the being. As above, so below. Inner versus the outer. Everything is within. No separation. All the things are answered by this. Everything. You can put everything in this box. How would it make you feel if that were true? Just for a minute. What if it's true that all you need to do is this one thing, to be the observer activist? You start every day with just this one observant act, and then you just let it rest because it won't go anywhere. And then you walk your earth story out in the now moment, in full acceptance to whatever comes into your story, because you've already done the observer work as an anchor. So you're already in that observer mode. You're connected to that light grid. This is an internal work. And then as you become the activist, the earth character that you are, walk out and just forget about the rest of it. Forget about it, because it's not going to go anywhere. You are who you are. Nothing can change that. Then you just get up in the morning, have your coffee, make your breakfast, go to work, don't go to work, hang out in the desert naked, do whatever it is that you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing, it will come to you in the form of a physical symbol. Something will come. Be in acceptance of it. Let your desires be what they are. It's all going to be tied into that thread of light that you are anchoring from the as above to the so below. But it's that simple. Imagine for just a minute if that were true. And that's now what you've been equipped for, and it's all you need to do. Forget about the story. Wake up every day in observer mode. walk through your intentional process, which I'm going to share with you what mine is. And I am going to come on here once a week, and I'm going to go through my intentional process, as it probably will ebb and flow and grow and fluctuate. I'm going to share it with you. And then I'm doing this every morning. And I'm starting tomorrow because this is kind of my beginning point. That's why I announced it on the 23-23, because I was told very clearly to do that. Start the energetic movement from the 23rd to the 23-23 portal. I've been seeing some crazy stuff since that moment, that aha moment for me. Crazy stuff. Wonderful stuff. So I'm already seeing this come to pass in my own story already. And I'm so excited to just be the divine anchor that I am, and then all the doing will take care of itself. Isn't that amazing that that's totally union? Divine feminine being, divine masculine doing, in perfect union. They are the as above and so below. That's what this is. It is so simple that it's the love between a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or a friend and a friend, or whatever, a brother and a sister, whatever that union is for you in the now moment. It could be all kinds of unions, all different expressions, same love. It can be as simple as that, and as advanced and unimaginable as being the totality of all that we're doing. That's what this is. That is what union is. It's to the simplest expression all the way into the most expansive, universal thing that you cannot fathom. Both and. It's all of it. Okay, so we're connecting ourselves to other beloveds that have chosen to not go into the density. They stayed in the as above, in their energetic forms, in support of us, in connected to us, because they knew they've been waiting for this moment, just like we are in this story that we're telling. And like I said, I'm going to bounce back and forth between, permanent ethereal truths to the, somewhat illusionary story that we're telling as earth beings. And it might be hard. Sometimes I lose track. So if you do, I apologize, but it is what it is. But in this story, these beautiful beings, and I know if it resonates with you, it does. If you understand what I'm saying, if you've been connected to things that are not visible and incarnate in this world, and had interactions with things throughout your whole life that nobody else understood or could see or hear or experience, you know I'm talking to you. This is a very real, just as real as you and I are in the story. These beings are just as real, and we are the anchors connecting the as above, where they've chosen to tarry, to the so below density that we've chosen to tarry. And now there's another union that is being completed. Intentionality to plug into that grid every day and start yourself in observer mode, in your I am presence, in the Anana, in the one, in that unseparated space of the Holy One, the observer, the one that's outside of the story, the I am presence that you and I are. Start your day with that, acknowledging that this power exists, and then simply connecting to it like you would a plug to a wall. That's simple. And if that imagery is what works for you, great. Just know in your heart of hearts, in your sacred, powerful internal heart that is now fully loaded, because now it's going to be a different game. I'm already experiencing it. It's a different thing that's going to occur. We've all been working towards this. As you do that inner reality, it will start to become very evident in the outer. And this is no more of this, intending manifestations, mantras and all the things that, not negating that any of these things aren't perfect and beautiful as they are, but this is a different now moment. And this is, once again, my journey. This is my aha moment. But if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. I'm moving forward with this because it's been made very clear to me by some of the most beloved energies that I've been connected to through this whole story. Just handed it over and said, this is what we're doing next. You wanted something to do? Here's what you're going to do. It's going to be super simple. You just do this one thing in the morning and then get into your day and be human and watch everything come to pass. Accept it for what it is, regardless of whether we judge it disastrous, painful, ugly, a loss, or good, or beautiful, wanted and desired. accept it for what it is and realize that it's just the activist part. This is the part that's going to be so perfected and so connected. It's going to be a game changer. We are going to begin to see tangible reality of our beautiful selves because we've fallen in love with that self within. It has to show up in the outer. It has to. That's absolutely mandatory. That's how this whole thing works. And so now it's time for us to do this really simple thing. Well, for me anyway. I say we because I say we a lot. There is no separation between you or I in my heart. None. So it's really easy for me to say we. Please don't misunderstand that I'm saying that someone has to get involved in this or do anything that they don't desire to do, because I'm not saying that at all. All right. To effect the entire Holy One, WHOL-E, to effect the entire Holy One, all of the beautiful incarnate earth characters that we get to play this game with. There are only a few anchors in the story. Not everyone is an anchor. Now, once again, bouncing between the as above, so below. It's okay, you can feel however you want to feel about that, but literally not everybody can be an apple. Just be a big old basket of apples, no. Someone would have to be the basket. See what I mean? We can't all be anchors because we didn't choose to all be anchors. There are different reasons for every individuated aspect. So, to effect the entire Holy One, there are only a few anchors in this story. And it is time for us to be intentional. And simply, with our intentions, connect. Now, do we need any of these tools I'm about to share with you? No. You're already connected. That's the truth. But your acknowledgement of it as human character, whoever you are, human character Shannon here, and your intentional plugging into it, utilizing anything in your story that you want to, is going to be a game changer. That's what I've been told. That's what I'm practicing, and I'm already experiencing it already. So I'm pretty excited about it. I've been waiting to see the tangible outer match the inner for quite some time. But up until a little while ago, I didn't realize there was even an inner to be considered. So, and it's everything. It's everything. Everything. This union is everything. It's about to show itself on the projector in the outer. That's simply all that's taking place. Very excited about it. Okay. How would it feel if this was your sole purpose? If it was that simple? How would that feel? For me, it feels flipping magnificent. Because literally, I have just enough desire for this earth story to do that. And then everything else will just let it play out as it is. It just seems so perfect. Perfect and simple to me. To believe that you, me, we are totally perfect, limitless, not alone, and struggling for answers of what now? How would it feel if that was no longer even anything you needed to consider ever, ever again? How would that feel? I think it feels magnificent, and I'm going to run with it. I don't expect anybody else to do anything with this. I just know that part of what I'm doing is I've been compelled to share it. So here I am, sharing it. Start with the willingness to take the deep breath of peace. Okay, so now we're going to get into the tangible game. We're going to get into the fun stuff. So this is what I'm going to do every day. I'm going to start every day with being willing to take this tangible deep breath of peace, which I'm finding it's a practice that I've taught myself. And if you want to, go ahead. If it doesn't work for you, you don't understand it, it doesn't fit you, once again, perfect, totally valid, exactly the way that it is. But I'm finding that this beautiful trinity that I am completely enveloped in is breath, water, and being, the now moment. Only things that matter to me. And if you need to, you still feel a little sketchy, or you're trying to choke to death, my throat is dry. It's really dry. I'm so tired, and I've been out in the public all day, and I don't usually, I'm not around lots of people all at once, so my body's definitely reacting. But I find that acknowledging that this breath is in fact me, plugging into the moment of perfected peace in that now moment, no matter what's going on around me, it could be the worst disaster ever going on around me. I train myself to completely acknowledge that that breath brings me back to 0 point peace. So that's what I do. And I've found this one little practice that works really good. There's 2 of them, and I'll show them to you. They really help. The first one is just 2 breaths in the nostrils, 2 breaths out against pressed lips, so you give it a little pressure. I do it 3 times. I can feel the DMT rushing into my brain. I feel the peace coming over my physical body because I have intended that that's what that practice is. And the breath is actually tangibly a real thing. It is spirit. So that's one. And this other one I learned, it's a Hawaiian thing, and it's beautiful. Works so good. You just take a deep, deep breath in, as deep as you can have it, and hold it. And then you just do this. And I'll move back a little bit so you can see the activity. Ha, ha, ha. Now, men, the masculine in the Hawaiian culture, bang their chests right here. Now, you don't have to do it hard, just firm enough to let your body know that you're communicating with it. I'm telling you, if you do it and feel what it feels like, it's pretty awesome. So deep breath in. Ha, ha, ha. Women, do it on your shoulders because that's a good, strong, firm place for you to do it, obviously. We're not going to do it here, right? Okay, so we're going to do one more. I like to do these in sets of 3. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, now see, I'm tingling all over. I feel invigorated and revived. So we've taken that deep breath. We've used breath to bring us into that place of peace. Breath, the bridge of the physical to the peace of the spirit. How does it feel to be connected? Oh, that's it. Okay, I need to give a little prelude to that. Okay. So one of the things that we've got lots of descriptions about this beautiful, unincarnate light holders that are outside of our story. We've called them so many different things. Angels, light beings, extraterrestrials, gods, goddesses, ascended masters. I really like that one because we think of Kuan Yin, Buddha, my favorite, Yeshua. I'm sure you can think of a million more. For some reason, no more of them are come to me. But ascended masters, those that have guided us, many of us, on our spiritual journeys. Personally, their frequency, which is never separate from our own, we are them, they are us, but in their place in the story have guided us. How would it feel to be connected to the ascended masters with a grid of light that is absolutely absolute? That would be pretty awesome, right? I think so. All right. Part of the intelligence that sets everything in motion, that one I am presence. Feel this. Do it with your breath. So we're just getting into the intentionality of being connected to this beautiful light that we are the anchors to. If you were here when the heavens were just a thought, you were here, I should say, not if. You were here when the heavens were just a thought. When the question came up with the Holy One about creation, to bring forth thought into form. You and I have both fallen in love with this playground that we've created. The Holy I Am has fallen in love with this playground. And like a lover, it has given and taken away. So we've come wrapped up in this story where we've fallen in love with it. It's become a very conditional experience. That's where we are at. We are balancing that very conditional experience. Take the breath in. Acknowledge that you're connecting to that grid of light, the ascended masters, the energy that is, the perfected energy, bringing it from the as above to the so below, through you. And it's the only way that it can have this beautiful effect, because this is an internal thing that we're doing. We're breathing into our bodies. We're taking advantage of all the internal work we've done to remember this internal kingdom. And everything that goes on internally happens and is represented externally. I actually am so excited to see all of this beauty that's within become the norm in the outer. And I can see a lot of you with my Sacred Heart Center. And I'm excited for that which you have remembered within yourselves as well. So much beauty and so much light. Okay, so imagination and intention, really, really important. I am plugging in as the so below to the above grid anchor, to that above grid for the expansion of the total, for the collective, the expansion of everyone, including myself. So acknowledging this is really important. I'm just breezing over my notes real quick, so just give me a second. It's a good time to take a breath, right? So now we go over the both and of it. Allow yourself a tangible touchstone. And see, once again, we've gotten so etheric, we've gotten so into the ether that I know myself, and I'm speaking only of myself, that we've lost contact with the story being tangible as it is. So I'm not going to bring my my singing bowl over here, because it's very, and as you can see, I'm very clumsy. I just knocked something over already. It's very, very fragile, and I don't want to move it right now. When I start doing these on a weekly basis, I'll have them available. But I do have a couple of little of my tangibles, touchstones, and they're wrapped around sound. For my journey, sound is huge. It always has been. I didn't understand why. But my touchstone, part of my touchstone is sound. And this is how I've completely rewritten my imagination to understand that these sounds are me energetically, with intention, plugging in to the ascended mastery of that grid and the beloveds that are getting ready, very much so, to make contacts. And if you're an anchor, who do you think they're going to contact? The ones who've been prepared for it. And now, once again, I'm talking about this so matter of fact, like, whoa! But I'm also asking you to remember that I'm going to be bouncing back and forth to the as above, so below. So I don't take this as seriously as it may sound, but it's what's happening in my outer as a result of what I'm doing in the inner. And that's what I'm trying to share. But it is an outer thing, and we're intended to have fun with it. It's supposed to be joyous. That's part of the reason why we do it. It's part of the duality. Okay. Where am I at? Oh, touchstone. Okay. This is the both and. As you use touchstones in the physical world, symbols of energy that are literally only representative of the I Am Presence telling the story, it's connection. It's union. It's union. And this union is very vast. It has everything to do with the Mary and the Yeshua kind of union, the marriage of masculine and feminine energy. But it has everything to do with everything. It is encompassing in the entire story right now. So what is this unifying? The both and. The observer, activist, the ethereal and the earth character. All of it coming together. So touchstone for this. Okay, so one thing that's going to be really good, and I didn't get it, and I'm not going to go try to drag it out, but is a candle. Light is a beautiful, representation of frequency anyway. So maybe one way you could do this by making that intentional connection and just being the anchor that you are. This is what it's going to look like for me. I'm going to use a candle, and I'm going to use my singing bowl, and then I'm going to use my Tingsha symbols as a final ethereal, actually a response, like an answer that the grid of light is actually confirming to me. We're connected. and we're going to move forward, and we're going to rock this world, literally. So that's how I'm going to do it for me, because that's what resonates for me. My singing bowl is tuned to the heart chakra, which is G. It's green. And so I will start with my singing bowl, and I also sing along with it with my own voice. This just resonates for me. You will find your own groove of things that work for you. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Just find something that's a touchstone for you that will symbolize that with intention, you are making a spiritual connection to the as above, which is these beautiful ascended beings that have chosen to not incarnate, but they are here. And, oh, so you see that? Did you see that right there? I'm pointing in the wrong direction. Went right by there. I'm seeing, yeah, I've been seeing little things. I haven't really mentioned them, but I was just driving to Costco today, and I saw things in the sky that just blew my mind. And then they disappeared. I've been seeing fractals of things. And guess why? Now, this is just my story. It's my belief, so you can do what you want with it. But you know why? Because it's in here. If it's in here, it's got to end up out there. And I just don't focus on anything else, just here. And then, once I'm focused here, I'm the activist. I go out and play with whatever pops into the circumstance, whatever it is, and I accept it for what it is. And you know, sometimes some crazy stuff that maybe not preferable happen, but I look at it and I breathe and I realize it's the exact representation of this light that I'm connecting to. That's just if you're an anchor, if this resonates. If it doesn't, then you go do you and do whatever it is that your heart tells you to do, because you're supposed to, and if you don't, then we won't have that expansion, and we want it. Believe me, we do. Okay. A candle is a good one. If you wanted to, if it's simple as just lighting it and realizing that when your physical eyes see that, you are making that acknowledgement and you are saying, I'm connected. Now I'm connected. I'm gonna let that go. I'm connected. I'm gonna move into activist mode, and I'm gonna be the human that I'm here to be. And I'm going to let go of everything else until tomorrow when I do this again. This is just what I'm doing, and I'm just sharing it with you. That's all this is. Okay? For me, it could be an aroma. You might be someone who is really, really connected and touched by smells. So you might use the aroma, something, beautiful scent of sage, maybe burning sage. Maybe that will work. Whatever it is, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Your touchstone is for you, just as long as you have one. But I must implore that it's important to have one. Another sound. I don't know if you can hear it, but oh, isn't that crazy how that just, look at that. I loved it, how the light just danced around when I decided to pass this. I love this. This is a very special, those of you that are close to me, you know what this is. But I call it my fairy bell. But once again, see, as soon as I'm very sound oriented, as soon as I hear it, I just get chills all over my whole body. I think it's because the frequency is a sound. And so it's so close to the origin of what this all is. I think that must be why I'm so attracted to it. I don't know for sure. But that's what I use. But it's whatever your heart chooses. Give it a try. All these things, just give it a try for. Can you pretend? Pretend to it? Tend to it before it's a thing? Pretending? Children do it so easy without breaking down the word and trying to describe it. They just get up and pretend. This stick's a sword and I'm a knight today. Pretend for a couple of days. If any of this clicks with you at all, pretend for a couple of days. Just do it and pretend. Keep your ears and eyes open and see what I see. I don't want to use that word because I don't like that word. It's one of those trendy words again. But see what comes into the outer from your inner workings. What could it hurt? Just like 7 days. What can it hurt, right? And if not, what can that hurt? Either way, it's beautiful and perfect just the way that it is. Okay. Is any of this necessary? I already spoke about that. Of course not. But it balances and connects the both and, the as above, so below. Yes, it's a way of acknowledging that I am part of this isness. It's acknowledging the miracle of life itself by connecting these things together as touchstones. And tones work for me. Sound just does it instantly for me. Plug your consciousness into the consciousness. You can look at this grid of light, you can look at this frequency in any way, shape, or form that makes you feel good about it. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing that I want to impress upon anyone is that if you've been asking this, if you've had this question in your heart of what in the world did all of this prepare me for? I feel more useless in the Earth story than I did before. I mean, it was obvious I was pretty useless anyway because my life was kind of, a total train wreck most of the time. But now I'm just sitting in this place. It's beautiful and I love it, but what the heck do I do with it? This is what I was told for my journey, is to become very intentional about this very one simple thing and just do that. Everything else will fall into place from it. Everything. So just do that. You're equipped. You've been equipped. Now it's time to be that loaded vessel. You can now fire this off. And instead of there not being any ammunition within you to fire it off, this time, watch what happens. Oh, I just got a really good image. Okay. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but it's called Independence Day with Will Smith. And it's an alien invasion. Well, they have these cloaks over their machines that are way more advanced than ours. And we can't even get an atomic bomb past this cloaking device that they have. It's a full protection that we cannot invade. Now, they come up with an idea to invade it by infecting their computer service with their system with a virus. So two beautiful men, Will Smith being one of them, go into the ship and risk their lives to upload this virus. Well, they upload it, and it's time for them to attack because now they brought down their protection device. So they attack once. Well, the device is still active, and they're like, nothing happened. Think about all the things that have happened thus far, everything we've been shown, and how we've just jumped into it with our whole hearts, and it hasn't produced what our hearts were feeling and experiencing. And I'm just speaking for me. Maybe it has for you. If it has, then great. Just turn this thing off and go do you. But for myself, I've just hit lots of walls with it. I saw it, understood it for what it was, and fully expected it to bloom into the exact thing that it felt like, and it has not. And that's just me being naked and honest. It has not. So in that movie, they shoot at it, and they get discouraged because it didn't work. They're totally locked and loaded. They're ready to go. They feel like they've got the experience and all the things they need to do this. Everything's in place, but it doesn't work. So they say, try it again. And they try it a second time, and it still doesn't work. Well, that level of disheartenedness, and I feel that. I don't know if you feel it, but we've been through so much. We've done so much internal work that we just feel like, geez, isn't it time for this to have some kind of profound effect? Yes, it is. So in that movie, that third time that they go up to shoot at it, everybody's discouraged. They're white knuckling it because they just expect that this time it's going to be the same, but it isn't. Something energetically changed, and now it is no longer. The same thing that happened before that didn't work was now loaded with something that did work. And that's kind of where we're at right now. At least that's how it feels to me, and that's what I'm going to be practicing. Now when we shoot this out forward, as simply as I'm explaining, it's just a simple act every morning, and then live your human life. There it is. Live your human life. Watch what comes into you, and then engage that. The activist. Activist. Invest your activity into that thing that comes forward, whatever it is, in the now moment. Treat it just like it is in the now moment, right there in the moment that it's happening. And once it's there, great. Once it's gone, great. Keep moving forward, but continue to do this one internal thing that I'm talking about. Now, I'm just telling you what has been told to my heart by my highest version of self. And so, whatever it means to you, it means. Okay? So I just got that image from that movie. Literally, it's not going to be the same this time, guys. Something has happened. Something has shifted. It's a permanent shift. We will not be returning. At least anyone that is in the same energy state, remember those layers I told you about? Whoever's singing the same tone that I'm singing right now, I cannot tell you how profoundly I know that we can't return to where we were. We had that ebb and flow for some time. You could slip back into those places, But it's just from my story, that's not possible. We're in a very energetically different place right now. What are we at? An hour and 14 minutes. Yeah, I need to cut this short because I need to rest. I can feel the fatigue in my body. Okay. Okay, connection and daily existence in the playground. Okay. It matters not what you do in the story as long as you bring your awareness to the light that you are anchoring in the both and. That's something really I want to bring home really clearly to you. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to completely just be present as an activist in the midst of your Earth story. But I know that a lot of things around me, the way that I've seen it coming about, and I've been listening to other brothers and sisters talking about what's going on in the outer around them and how I'm keeping them from this one thing because it's very distracting. Forget about it. Now, I know before I used to describe it as keeping your eyes on the instrumentation panel and not looking out the window. But once again, it may sound like the exact same thing, but this time it isn't. And now I'm going to be walking through this myself and sharing every moment of it. And I fully believe with my heart of hearts that this time, this type of understanding is fully loaded. We have all of the union within now that we didn't have remembrance of before. It was still present. It's never changed. We just didn't have the acknowledgement of it. You can't acknowledge something you don't remember. Now that we've remembered it, let's attentively acknowledge it and move forward, and let's watch what happens. Okay. No more only focus on the doing while we are doing. Focus on the being, the light connection while we're doing. As above, so below. As above, so below. In this, we can easily call it all good. Now, if you think about that for a minute, the divinity, the first part of the Bible, in a lot of allegories, calling everything good. What would it feel like to be in the midst of your earthly experience, regardless of what happens, calling it all good because you have remembered yourself as this anchor in this connection? So you know that it's all good regardless of how it plays out in the outer. Imagine how it would feel to finally be in that place. I'm here, and I'm going to be sharing it with you. And this is going to be my final thing that I do because it's the pitch of this. It feels like an ethereal connection to the oneness and the all that we are, like it's a thread that runs through everything that is. And when I hear it, as I hear it, I imagine that as it dissipates and it gets quieter and quieter, that is my answer. And as soon as I don't hear it any longer, I know that it's made full connection with the entirety of all that is, and I'm fully connected to that. And that's a powerful thing. It's a wonderful thing, and that's what I'm going to plan on doing. Now, see, it is my imagination game that I will not let go of that magical understanding that that's what's happening until I no longer hear that frequency. I wait until it's completely gone, until there's no way that my physical being can receive it anymore. And that's when I know it's finished. It's done. And as you can see, my eyes lit up, my pupils dilated, DMT is running through my brain. Yes, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I've come to remember how to create my own DMT and run it through my brain at will whenever I feel like it, which is pretty freaking amazing. I love it. So this is going to be the longest version of what I'm going to be doing, just in description of it. But I'm going to be connecting once a week, probably on my day off, Wednesday, in the evening, and just working through it. And normally I like the idea of doing it in the morning because of the new light, the new day, the new now moment, regeneration, all the things that are, tied into that. But I will be doing it in the evening just to make it, maybe I will do it in the morning, and then maybe I'll do a live reproduction of it in the evening and join you in the chat room. Maybe we'll do that. I'd also like anybody who is having something that that resonates with this moment that I'm explaining to you, I would love to have you come on and join me and we could discuss it. That would be lovely, because I believe that the more of us that know we are this anchor, we knew it from before, but we moved through all those processes and let go of that. I am now being revisited with it. It literally was just handed back to me. And at first I was a little like, what? I moved through that already. I'm beyond it. So why are you taking me? Oh, that's why. That's exactly what happened. I was like, oh, wow. I couldn't experience that before. I had to be introduced to it to get me to where I'm at. But with this union within, it's a whole different thing. It's seen in its totality of its unrealness, lowercase r, to its totality of its realness, uppercase R, and in complete union, like the union that's within. It came first before any of this. Didn't have that remembrance before, but I have it now. And it's time to implement this beautiful, simple thing to be the anchor that I am. And with tangible intention and touchstones in this story, connect myself to that beautiful, and they are calling to us right now. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I have been experiencing it for some time. Seeing things, experiencing things, just feeling this call. And we are going to be, we're going to be connected in ways that we haven't experienced, at least in this lack of remembrance that we're in so far. And nothing new under the sun. This has all been done before. It's been done in different ways, and we will be doing it again in a different, layered, and more expansive way. But for now, in this part of the game, it's pretty cool, because having this remembrance come back is such a beautiful experience. So have a wonderful night, and I'm going to come back. I think I will do it next Wednesday, and I may actually do the practice in the morning and then share it that night, and then we can maybe discuss. I don't know, we'll see. But I am going to wake up every morning, and that's going to be my morning. It's just that moment, very short moment, and then I'm just going to release it, and I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to be in joy, because regardless of what happens, even if I'm hung on a cross to die, it will be seen as good and perfect and beautiful, because I understand, and I'm intentionally acknowledging the connection that I hold to this light grid. How beautiful will it be to be able to experience life in the way we were intended to experience, with this level of remembrance and the power that's been waiting for us to run these starships that we've remembered that we are. I love you so much. Have a wonderful night, and we will talk again soon.